Hi folks, this is Ben from carrypad.com. I've got the Motorola Xoom tablet here and I'd like to give you an overview of it. So let's quickly look around the hardware. On the front we've got a 10-inch screen. This is 1280 by 800. And on the top we have I'll get onto this slot in a minute, but first keep running around here. There's a 3.5mm headphone jack. On the right side we don't have anything. On the bottom, let me make sure you're focused there. On the bottom is contacts, which look like they could be for dock. There's an AC adapter right here. These two things that you see are just screws. We have this is a mini HDMI. This is micro USB. And on the left side we have two volume buttons, very small. Now back to this slot on the top here, which I'd like to talk about for just a minute. Also want to make sure that focused on there still. So this slot, for the time being, houses two things. It's a micro USB slot under here, and there's also a SIM card placeholder. This tablet in this version is on Verizon in the US, and at the moment they have their LTE network launched, their 4G network, but this does not have the hardware in it yet, but it's upgradable. So if you do get one of these, you'll be able to send it at some point to Verizon free of charge, and it'll take about a week. They'll upgrade it to have 4G hardware in it. You'll be able to put your 4G SIM card right in here in this little placeholder slot, and then you pop that back in, you'll be ready to roll with LTE. As I said, there's a micro SD actually hidden in here too, so if you want to expand your storage, this is just a placeholder, but if you want to expand the storage, you're welcome to do that right there, but don't put a card in here until you've booted the device and updated it. Actually, it says it on that placeholder. So as I said, once this gets upgraded, they haven't announced when that'll be yet, but this slot will function as both the SD card and the SIM card holder. So just before we jump into the the software, this is running 1 GHz dual-core Tegra 2 processor. It's got a gigabyte of RAM. And now we will jump into the software, which everyone has been quite excited about. It's Android 3.0. This is the first version of the software that's specifically designed for tablets. And actually, before we run ahead, I need to stop myself real quick because I forgot to talk about the back here. On the back, we have speaker. This part of the body is aluminum, brushed metal of some sort. Up here is like a rubberized plastic. So it's got some neat multi-tone accents going on here. This is a 5 megapixel camera, which is capable of taking up to 1280 by 720 video. Dual LED flash. This over here is the power and lock button, and this is another speaker. So now we're on to Android 3.0. As I was saying, the Xoom is the first device on the market that is running Android 3.0, and let's jump into it. So here's the home screen. Just like any Android phone, you've got several different pages that you can go through, but you'll always return to the center one as sort of your ultimate default. So if I swipe out here and hit the button, it'll send me back to the center one. If I press this up here, you can actually see an overview of the 5 different pages I have. And real quick, let me talk about these buttons down here at the bottom left. These are actually, make sure that you can see those. Here they are. These are actually the Android buttons as you've come to know them on phones. Usually they're on the bezel of the device, but on here they're actually in the software. So when I rotate the device here, you'll see that they move along with it, which is handy. They're actually not too straightforward right off the bat, but when you take a minute to look at them, you realize that this is the back button, this is the home button, and this is actually sort of a task switcher button, which isn't common on phones, but they're doing that for Android 3.0. But so you'll be using these buttons quite a bit. This one actually pulls up a list basically of just recently used applications, so it's sort of like holding down the home button. In fact, holding down the home button on this doesn't actually do anything, so yeah, it's exactly what the function of holding down the home button is normally on other phones. So I've cleared everything off of all the other pages and sort of just using one for now, but let me go to a blank page and talk to you a little bit about the widgets here. So the cool thing about this is widgets from software that isn't specifically designed for tablets is actually supported here. So for instance, I'll grab the Twitter widget. So this Twitter widget is installed when you install the Twitter application. But the Twitter application is designed for a regular Android handset, a phone. And this is the widget that would normally go with this. I can drag that onto any one of my desktops, and it'll show on here just fine, which is really cool. So developers don't need to do any additional work to get widgets at least somewhat functional on tablets, which is great. So if there's widgets that, if you really love widgets, you're going to have a whole lot of space on here to put them. Now there are some widgets that have been specifically designed for Android 3.0 here. So this is the Market widget, and it'll just pull up any relevant or highlighted stuff, and you can flick through them. I don't know about how useful this really is. If you wait a minute, it'll slide through itself. But I don't know. I don't know if it's really actually anything that I want on there like this. They've always got these picture widgets. Where are they? Picture frame. So I just never have quite agreed with these. So let's say here's a picture that I took, and I like this picture, I guess. So it's gonna stick it in a picture frame on my desktop. Okay. And now I've got that small portion of that picture that I took and that I have already looked at a lot. I don't really care about it. So anyway, that'll give me a great opportunity to show you how to remove these things. As usual, click and hold to reorganize, and if you want to remove it, drag it up to the trash can, and it's gone. So let's see, any other interesting widgets on here? You've got the analog clock, another pretty useless thing. I don't even know what time it is by looking at that, but if I look down here, I can see it's 5:33. Books, this is designed, this comes with Android 3.0. We've got calendar. I'll just throw these up here so I can show them to you guys real quick. Oops, this is asking me about. So I added a contact widget, and I can pick whoever I want. So I'll just throw myself on there, show that to you guys in a minute. This email widget's actually kind of nice. If you click on it, it doesn't have any more room on that home screen, so I'll throw it up here. Click on it, hit to configure, and you can add essentially any modern email provider will be set up with this, no problem. Which is nice if you don't use Gmail or if you have work mail. And of course, there is the same thing, but it's specifically for Gmail and already integrated with the Gmail account that you're using on the device. Let's see, there's a search bar as usual, but that's kind of useless because alright, cool, I can click in there and do a Google search, but all that's really doing is actually taking me up to this Google button here, which is on every single page and does the exact same thing, which you can search by voice or whatever, voice or typing, or any other input method that you have. So we'll throw that off of there. What else is on here? YouTube, another widget that I wish was more useful than it is. So yeah, that's most of the ones on here. Interesting anyway. So YouTube, it's just, I don't know, from featured videos, most discussed featured videos. I don't really care about this. I would much rather be able to configure this and say, you know, grab my subscriptions. That would be cool. That's stuff that's relevant to me. I'm not trying to look at Rebecca Black's Friday. So yeah. Anyway, on to the widgets. So we've got some widgets here. Calendar, pretty basic. Clock, hate you. Books, you can flick through them. This actually shows you Google Books, so that's cool. If you're a book reader, you can just, flick through, find your book pretty easily, and it'll launch you, I guess, right into wherever you left off. Before I talk about that application itself, just keep talking about a few more widgets. So here is the contacts widget I added myself, and tapping it apparently doesn't do much. So tapping that will just give me whatever is in that contact card. There's got to be certainly some more functionality here. I think that if you have somebody who emails you or messages you a certain contact, that'll actually pop up here and give you a little bit of information, but can't really show that to you at the moment. And I'm just going to throw these away as we go through them, except I'll keep the ones that I want to keep talking about. Twitter, already talked about that. Already talked about you. Inbox, I'll bring this over here so that I can talk about these widgets along with the application. So let's go through these. Calendar, really not useful in the way that I want to view my calendar. This widget, it just doesn't really give you a good idea of what's going on in the day. But anyway, you can click on it and launch into the calendar application, which looks quite good on Motorola. I'm sorry, on the Android 3.0. So you can actually pinch to zoom or pinch to compress your day to get a full view of what's going on here, which is pretty cool. You can go through day by day. You really need to play with it though. Initially, a lot of the interface elements they're using here, they're not very clear cut. All these buttons over here, they're all very faded together, so it's sort of take you a little while to figure out what you can and can't do here. An issue I have with the calendar right now is I've got a lot of these boxes up here represent these are all-day events, and over here I have a lot that are just not showing. I don't know what they are. I can't quickly click on them to pull them up, and I can hardly even select them one by one. So as you can see, this has a title, but it's not being shown here. Even when there's only one or two all-day events, it's not showing the title of it. But that is happening over here for some reason, which is, I don't know if that's a bug, but I see it all the time on the standard Google Calendar on Android phones. So I'm assuming it's not a bug, it's just some weird thing that they do. Let's take a look at it in portrait mode real quick. Same deal, they've just reorganized some of the stuff. We can still pinch and crunch our day. Let's go to the month view. It would be really cool if I could just hold down, long press on one of these days and get a little pop-up showing me quickly what's in that day, and then when I release, making it go away. But you only have the option to jump into each day. And let's see. So this is the week view, day view. Been through all that. Let's see what it looks like when we create an event. Event name. Blah blah. Set your time zone. Description. You can set reminders. So pretty standard Google Calendar fare. So that's good. Let's jump into books real quick. Here's Google Books. And here's the home screen. Pretty cool 3D effect. No pinching functions. You've got your classic page turn animation because everybody seems to be so enthralled with that these days. Check out portrait support on this. So same thing, they're just reorganizing, keeping the same content, which is good. And let's talk about Gmail. Gmail is very nice on Android 3.0. It's very similar to what you'll find on the iPad, but I really like the style of it. So here you've got your folder. This is basically the screen that you would expect to see when you click Gmail on an Android phone. You get just this panel. But of course now you get your whole inbox and whatever else is under whatever folder you've selected. So here we've got a new email, slides that panel out of the way, brings you just your inbox, and gives you your content over here. Let's have a look at portrait. So they've squashed the size of the folder selector over here, and when you click into a message, instead of rolling this over to the side, they actually just get rid of it altogether and put the whole email in one thing. So it's pretty cool. You can expand and look at messages that have been different parts of the conversation, just like you would expect to be able to in desktop Gmail or Gmail on Android for phones. And so that's quite a bit of that. I can show you some of the applications real quick. Let's see. You can switch between all and my apps on this page. This is sort of the app launcher. All is everything that came pre-included with the device, and my apps is just stuff that you installed. So let's look at the browser. Of course, you gotta have Angry Birds up here. Google Docs. So we'll run to CarryPad real quick, see how that loads. So it's actually giving me the mobile view. So here's UMPC portal. It's still loading in. It might be hard to see the bar at the top, but it is scrolling pretty quickly, and it didn't have any lag while it was loading, and I was scrolling. And if we, oh, that's perfect. So actually I can show you a notification down here just popped up. I want to make sure that you guys can see that. So down here is sort of the little status bar. Normally it's at the top on a phone. Down here, as I said, you've got the buttons. Over here you've got status information, battery, Wi-Fi, time, and that little M icon obviously represents the fact that I just received an email. So that did pop up for a minute, but then got out of the way pretty quickly. I can tap on that and you'll see the sort of status thing that always pops up here, giving you more detailed information, battery percent, the Wi-Fi network you're on, but you'll also see notifications will stack up here. And finally, you can actually get rid of notifications one by one by hitting the X's next to them, which is something you have been unable to do on the standard Android version, which is pretty annoying. So it's an email I don't really want to pay attention to right now, so I'm just going to close that and go back to what I'm doing. So as I said, we are on CarryPad. The browser's looking pretty good. The text isn't reflowing right now. There may be an option to do that. And let's see. So I've actually enabled sort of a lab feature in here, which is using this little slide-out gesture to do the navigation. You can do that from either of the sides. So when I slide it out, it quickly, this is actually really nice, quickly gives me these options. I've got forward, refresh, back, URL bar, bookmarks, what is this plus button? I don't even know. That opens a new tab, and this one will open sort of more options menu up here. Let me show you what the browser looks like without this. Oh, got a crash. Fun stuff. So I'd like to show you what the browser looks like without the labs feature enabled. Quick controls. Okay, so this is what it looks like normally. You've got a URL bar up here at the top, very desktop style. You can hit a plus, open as many tabs as you want, and once they start filling the screen too much, they'll slide off, and you can slide them back and forth. It might be a little dark for you guys. I want to make sure again that you can see this. Give me 1 minute to adjust. Might just have to bring this a little closer to the camera. There we go. So, as I was saying, slide these around, close them. I wish there was an X to close ones that you didn't have in focus. So if I wanted to close this, I have to tap it and then hit an X. It requires 2 button presses when it could be 1, but it saves a little bit of space. But anyway, I do like the quick controls turned on, because it pretty much gives you everything you need to do much more quickly, and takes that whole bar off the page, which gives you a lot more room to focus on what you're doing. So I can just say, okay, I want to go to a website. And there we go. And I want to open a new tab, and I want to go here. I'm just not liking this. Another browser crash. Well, there you go. Early release software. I guess that's what you can somewhat expect from this device until they get it updated. But what else can I show you? I'll show you Google Maps. So here's maps, runs quite quickly, all the stuff's popping in real quick. I'm on Wi-Fi, by the way, in case anybody was wondering. This is not 4G yet, and this is certainly a little faster than 3G could provide. So this all looks quite good, and as you can see, we can rotate, pinch and zoom. 2 fingers will actually take us down at an angle, and if I go somewhere like here, oh come on, so here we're in New York, and that'll give me a better way to show off this tilt action that you can do. Tilt it down, and it should pop in 3-dimensional buildings here, but it's not at the moment. Let's see if we can turn those on. Well, anyway, I was working on the phone version of the latest maps. Perhaps it's in labs. Nope. But anyway, I won't spend my time looking for that feature at the moment, just because I'd like to show you guys a little bit more about this before we have to roll. Jump back here, find some other exciting applications. What is exciting? Showed you calendar, email. I can show you how an application like Google Reader for phone adapts itself to the tablet. So in this case, you'll find that this is exactly what you would see on an Android phone. It's just been enlarged, and some applications work like that depending upon the way that their interfaces are built. Other ones that use different style interfaces, like Reach Service Record here, or actually no, that's going to jump up to full screen as well. Let me find an example of one that I know, one that will stay small. Speed test. So this one actually sort of defaulted to portrait, even though it made itself a little bit bigger to fit. Let's see what else. Yeah, so this application doesn't really have the necessary stuff built in to understand that it should widen itself and make itself bigger, and it will actually only go to portrait mode, and it's going to stay really small like that. And I'll show you how responsive the flipping is here. When you flip it up and upside down, they've got a neat little flipping animation to spin the screen. Here's sideways. And I think we've covered a decent amount, but there is plenty more to talk about with this application. Before we go, I'll show you what the marketplace looks like on Android 3.0 on a tablet. It looks pretty good. So here we've got a nice full-size market. We've got some featured applications up here, different categories, and they have tablet apps, featured tablet apps in their own little section, so you can find new applications that are designed to work with Android 3.0. And let's install something real quick. Pull break demo, just to show you. So you've got a nice full screen image, the same one you'll find on the online version of the marketplace that you can access from any browser. That'll be featured right there. You get some screenshots, very similar to what you are used to on the phone, just bigger, more information. And download, it's going to ask me about permissions, and now it's beginning the install. We'll watch for the notification down here once it does finish. which some people may miss the fact that you used to be able to pull up or pull down the notification bar on phones, and it would give you sort of progress about how the installation was going. It doesn't look like on here in the notification area we can actually see how the download is doing, so we'd have to go back to the market to figure out what's going on here. In fact, what is going on here? Oh. Oh, actually no, there it goes. It just didn't start properly, so we will get some information down here. And I think I accidentally dismissed the notification. Okay, last thing before I let you guys go, we'll talk about just this quick configuration panel up here, which is very nice. You can toggle airplane mode, Wi-Fi. You can toggle the screen orientation so that when you turn it, it won't turn if you don't want it to. You can toggle your brightness here between auto and a slider. Notifications on or off, and then there's an extended, the button will take you into the extended settings, which has some handy stuff such as, wait for it, here we go, better use. They've got this nice graph here that shows you a little bit about how your phone's been performing. It'll tell you how the network signal has been, when the Wi-Fi has been on, how often it's been awake, when the screen's on, how often it's been charging, when the GPS has been kicking in. So that's really nice. You'll also find that same thing on Android 2.3, although not a lot of phones are running that today. So anyway, Motorola Xoom, very cool tablet. There's a lot more to talk about. If you guys have anything specific that you'd like me to have a look at, please feel free to let us know, and we'd be happy to cover it for you. We've got a full review coming soon. You'll be able to find a gallery and all sorts of other great stuff on our site, so please check out carrypad.com, and I really appreciate you guys hanging around to watch. Have a great day.